Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. So it is time to choose our May TBR. I've been having so much fun with these TBR videos, but I'm doing it a little bit differently this month. So for March and April I did a TBR prompt wheel, but for May I actually had my Instagram account decide which books that I'm going to be reading. So what I did is I took 12 books from my physical TBR over here and I pinned them next to each other and I covered them up, and I had my Bookstagram account vote which book I would be reading based on emojis that kind of represent the title and or the cover of the book, or like the general vibe of the book. So we're gonna be going through all of the polls and everything. I haven't looked at the results because I was waiting to do that with you guys. So the first two that I put next to each other are two romance books. So I put The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary against Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This book, honestly, I believe it's two people who live together but they never talk or anything, or they've never met or something like that. So they start writing letters to each other and it just sounds so sweet and endearing, and just the cover gives me the most spring vibes, and that's honestly what's really drawing me towards it. And then Betting on You, I just absolutely love Lynn Painter's young adult books, and I think I would probably listen to this one as an audiobook possibly, but I just love her books so much. So this one is a 50-50 tie. I had 18 people vote on these stories, and by the way, if you want to participate in this sort of thing, make sure you follow my Bookstagram account because I'll probably end up doing this challenge again. But this is a 50-50 tie. So does that mean I choose? Does that mean I get to choose the first book that we're going to be reading? I think I'm going to go with The Flat Share just because I definitely want to read this spring, and obviously May is like my last opportunity to do that before summer starts, because I don't necessarily see myself reading this any other time besides spring. So I think that our first book on our May TBR is definitely going to be The Flat Share. So the next two books that I put next to each other are, I would love to get through one video without my camera dying. That's like my goal. That's like my dream, like please. So the next two books that I have pinned next to each other are Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall and The Names by Florence Knapp. These two books are like the fiction option. I do have another fiction option in this stack as well, but in The Names we are following this, like, it's almost like a multiverse sort of situation, or just like a alternate timeline sort of situation where our character, I believe, is naming her child, and then we follow these different timelines based on what he's named, because his name like changes the outcome of his life and everything that he goes through and everything. So I'm pretty sure that's the premise, or it's something along the lines. I go into my books very blind, so I'm pretty sure that's what this book is about. And then Broken Country, I honestly don't know much about this, but I believe it's a fiction that has like this like mystery plot to it as well. So very excited about either of these. I don't really care which one I pick here. So let's check the polls. Wow, I'm actually surprised. I'm actually really surprised by this one. I thought Broken Country was gonna win for some reason, but The Names won by 67%. So honestly, very happy about that. The cover alone is just giving me spring, and this was my May 2025 book of the month book, so I think it's about time that I get to it. So honestly, I'm loving this TBR so far. I feel like the people know what I want to read. So then I decided to put a fantasy option on my TBR because I've been kind of in the fantasy mood recently, because last month I read a retelling and it made me just want to read more fantasy. So first I have Heartless by Marissa Meyer, and this is a retelling of The Red Queen. And then we have Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I don't know really the magic system in this, but I definitely want to read this. Like I've said before, I didn't like Carnival, but I'm hoping to like this one instead. So honestly, I don't really care which one I get. I think this one is maybe more seasonally appropriate for now, but this one I think I'm really going to enjoy. So honestly, I really don't care what I get. So let's see. Once Upon a Broken Heart won 56% to 44%, so literally by 2 votes. So honestly, very exciting. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to read this. I have really high hopes for this, so if I end up not liking it, I'm gonna be really disappointed because my expectations are so high for this. And now we have our next two fiction options. So first we have The Favorites by Lane Fargo, and honestly, I think it's time that I get to this book. I've had it on my TBR for a while and I've been wanting to read it for so long. I think I'm really gonna like this because people have kind of compared it to Daisy Jones and the Six a little bit, and that's one of my favorite books ever. And I just think I'm really gonna like the style of this book, like how it's formatted with like the documentary style plus like the actual like timeline of this book and just the scandals and the drama and the romance and everything that's in this book, I think I'm really going to enjoy it. So this is option number 1, and then option number 2 is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellers, and this one we're following 4 sisters or 3 sisters, I'm not sure. I know one of their sisters passes away, and it's how the other sisters kind of cope with that because they were all connected by this one sister who passed away. So without her, I think there's some trouble amongst them and there's a little bit of drama, I believe, and then they're also just dealing with this grief of losing their sister. So honestly, again, either one I'd be happy with, but I think this one gives more spring vibes. So let's see what the people have chosen. The favorites. Okay, I feel like I should have known that. I feel like by the emojis people could probably tell what this book was, so that's probably why they chose it. So our next book is The Favorites, and I think this is good for me to put on my May TBR because I need to be forced to read it a little bit. I think I'm so intimidated by this book because my expectations are so high. I'm like, I don't know, it freaks me out a little bit. So I'm definitely so excited to be putting this on my May TBR. And then next, I pinned 2 Carly Fortune books next to each other. We have One Golden Summer and Meet Me at the Lake, and usually I do like to read authors' books in order of which they came out, but I don't know, I don't really care all that much because I know that her new release comes out May 5th, I believe, so very soon, and I know that I'm not gonna have time to read all of her books first, so it doesn't really matter the order I read them in. So honestly, I don't really care which one I pick. I know I've heard way better reviews about this one, but either one, literally either one, I don't really care. So let's see what the people have chosen. Ooh, okay, they chose this one. I feel like if I posted the covers of these, I think this one would have won by a landslide, but because it's just based on emojis, this one obviously takes the cake. So takes the cake, is that an actual saying? This one takes the cake. Did I just make that up? Is that, I don't know. Anyway, either way, we're adding Meet Me at the Lake to our TBR. Look at this TBR so far. We have such good options. Absolutely loving this. So for our 6th and final book, which is really crazy because this video has gone really quickly so far, I put 2 like thrillers / mysteries up against each other. So first we have The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. This one's pretty short. I believe it's not even 300 pages, but I've read 3 of her other books and I really enjoy them. They're more of like a fiction-y sort of book with a subplot of thrillers, and I always say that because I feel like they're a little bit more character driven than other thrillers usually are. So we have this option, and then we have Wild Dark Shore, and this one again has been sitting on my TBR for a while and I kind of need to be forced to read it a little bit because I'm very intimidated by it a little bit. Just because of everyone's reviews, like a lot of people rated this 5 stars, and so when I'm going into a book that's very highly loved and like I think I'm also gonna love it, I get very intimidated because I'm like, okay, but what if I don't? What if I don't? So let's see. Okay, Wild Dark Shore has won. Wild Dark Shore again won by 2 votes. So literally so excited. Again, I just needed to be kind of forced to read this. So this is really good. This is such a good TBR. Such a good TBR. So just as a little recap, we have The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary, The Names by Florence Knapp, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I am literally so excited to read this book, like literally so ecstatic. The Favorites by Lane Fargo, Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, and finally Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. Okay, so truly this may be one of the best TBRs ever. I am so excited to read these books, and let me know if you read any of these. Let me know your thoughts. If any of these are your 5-star reads, please let me know. I'm so excited. And you'll see most of these books in reading vlogs and stuff like that, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my thoughts on any of these books, and make sure you follow my Bookstagram so you don't miss the chance to vote in a future TBR video that I do. And let me know if you like this format of TBR videos or if you prefer the prompt wheels. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys so soon. Bye guys.